It's fun to see all the other Justice League characters in their costumes. The work and the energy that went into the aesthetic of these costumes, it's really impressive.
Just like a bat. I dig it. You actually kind of geek out when you get to see everyone. They look unbelievable. Like, it's truly like a little fanboy moment, or just you feel like a little kid and you go like, that's Batman.
Not that bad. Well, my head is not that big. The first 2 days that we were shooting in groups, I was bursting out loud, laughing all the time. One moment I'm being super serious and I have the sword and the shield and everyone are dressed so beautifully and everyone looks so strong, just like in the comic books. And then they cut and I look to my sides and I'm like, what are we doing? It's like costumes, it's like Halloween. It was really, really funny, but it was awesome. It's a great experience.
One of the most glorious times for me is the early time of research and development. There's lots of time to really do your homework, look into new fabrication technologies, new materials, new techniques, and just the design language that's constantly evolving to try and make these characters appealing and relevant to modern audiences. As well as researching the 75 years of the legacy of all these characters and how they've been drawn through all of the decades and what they've come to mean to people, what they stand for. The first people that usually come on board for the costume department are our illustrators. I begin with my simple sketches and my collages and things, and then they flesh them out into beautiful, stunning pieces of work that inspire all the different departments and actors and people around the studio. That collaboration really helps me get the look we need. The next people that come on board are people that source fabrics and help do prototyping and work out how we're going to make all of these costumes. There's people that maintain the costumes, people that build the costumes, and then the sculptors and the painters and the artisans and the mold makers that create the specialty costumes. There's printers, there's dyers, there's leather craftspeople. There's a whole army of people that go into making these costumes the way they do when they walk onto sets. So it really takes a village, that's for sure. So this is my costume office in here. I've been working on some prototypes for the new superhero costumes. This is where we have meetings with the director and show him what we've been working on and the new ideas that we're developing for the superheroes.
What is this outfit? It's weird.
Yeah, it's really odd.
Something I wanted to pitch to you guys. First up, we have the sculpture of the tactical suit for Batman, which is the suit that we'll see at the end of the film. It's built over the Batsuit from the last film. And this time he has another layer of armor when he realizes that he has to really lift his game to fight with the other superheroes and overcome the alien invasion. So this is the cowl from Batman vs. Superman, and this is the new cowl that we're developing. We're trying a new material that's super flexible, and we're having a slightly different silhouette, just tweaking all of the lines to make him look super sharp. Over here is our Aquaman corner. This is a scan of Jason, and in the computer we take the scan and we draw the costume over his body so we can get all the proportions right. We can play around with the shapes and make sure it all looks great. We did lots of tests here of colors, different goals. Zach really wanted the costume to feel ancient and broken down, so we're playing with that with our paintwork here.
Whether it's the trident, the eyes, the costume, when you put everything on, you're right into the character, and that's the beautiful thing. That's when you're working with really talented artists. From props to, obviously, Michael, who has made all of our costumes, and they're amazing. Yeah!
Over here we have Flash's corner. With this costume, Zach wanted this great mixture between a very high-tech approach, but also low-tech, lots of beaten-up kind of textures. Sort of feels like a prototype suit. It's been scratched and messed around with. Flash is kind of working out his look in this early stage of his story.
Silica-based quartz sand fabric, heat resistant.
Yeah, I do very competitive ice dancing.
I had this idea that it's almost like a sports shoe in the way that you combine soft, flexible materials and then layer it up, and so it becomes harder and harder. These fabrics actually started off being two different fabrics, and we took a neoprene, we came up with a digital pattern, and we had it laser cut into the neoprene, and then we had it fused onto this backing fabric here. And that way you have a fantastically stretchy fabric, but it also has an amazing dimensional depth to it when you stretch it across the foam.
I like the idea that he's stolen a bunch of stuff from NASA. And I think he's a good-hearted person, so I think he probably left in a little pile on the floor all of the money he's made working his 3 jobs. He just probably dumped a lot of it on the floor of the NASA warehouse and then scooted off. Oh, it's some surplus supplies, but he's sewn together these layers of netting and synthetic material that can be both flexible, that can be heat resistant, that can protect him maybe a little from all of the flying things, like all the bugs. You have to imagine the bug nightmare of if you've ever driven fast down a highway, then you know that the Flash has bug issues. Yes! It was gross! Oh!
Cyborg was another character that it was my responsibility to come up with the look for him. I worked with my concept artists to create lots of different artwork to inspire what the final look for Cyborg might be. It's ultimately going to be a character that's created digitally in the film, but in pre-production we sort of had to work out what his look was, how he works with the look of the rest of the team. And so with him, the main thing to convey was the language of his costume is alien, it's apocalyptic. And so we wanted to avoid any fixings or any details, any technologies that seemed human and sort of known to us. And so in the computer, we created lots of different sort of fractured textures, lots of sort of impossible junctures.
You want to turn it on so you see if it shines through it? Yeah. Okay, I don't forget how you make the heart symbol, but that's all right. This is my heart.
My costume is mine because it's pajamas. I have the CG mocap suit, and I've actually grown accustomed to it now. When I got to see everybody else in their costumes, I was jealous at first because I know I'd have to wait to see what mine looked like.
Amber light on!
What you see in the films is human face on the right-hand side, and the rest of the body is a sort of digital prosthetic that we've created and replaced. We've stayed as faithful as possible to Ray's performance throughout the movie, and he definitely guides it.
Victor, no! Victor!
This time around, we really wanted Superman to really jump off the screen and have an even more special luster and a luminous quality. The blue of the suit is a little bit more intense and saturated than last time around. And also, we developed this highly chromed and reflective undersuit. So when you get the fabric of the suit that is stretched over that, you get this wonderful depth and reflection, and it gives the suit a metallic feel.
There's no feeling like it. It's a special, special thing to put the Superman suit on, and I get excited about it still. Me and my friends, we talk about it, we geek out about Superman, and it's truly, truly unique.
What I wanted to achieve with Wonder Woman's costume is to get a mixture of strength but also elegance. She's a legitimate warrior and a fantastic, strong fighter, but she also, the way she fights is very different from the other characters. She has a real discipline and a strength and a majesty to her way of fighting, and that extends to the whole Amazon culture. She's battle-scarred. She's obviously been in a lot of battles before. Her costume is very distressed. Her costume has changed a little bit, mostly in the coloring. It's a little bit more vibrant this time around. It has a little bit more glow to it. And also the biggest change is probably just the practicality of it all.
I need to be able to fight, move, sit, kick. We ended up having, I think, over 14 different costumes. One is softer, one is shinier, one is heavier, one is darker, one is lighter. So at the end of the day, I was as comfortable as could be in this type of costume.
Oh, that's the best part of it.
This film is definitely, hands down, the most epic, huge-scale film I've ever worked on. I have a great team of people that help me carry that off, putting ideas down on the table and make sure that all of the storytelling in the clothes is happening in a clear and powerful way. There's no limit to the amount of detail and love and care that we can put into these costumes, and which makes it such an exciting project for me. It's been completely a thrill.